I slid the divorce papers across the white tablecloth like a dealer flipping a bad hand in a high-stakes poker game, watching Mark's face crumple under the chandelier light of our old high school gym-turned-banquet hall. The ink was barely dry, but the words I'd scrawled in Lisa's elegant cursive, irreconcilable differences. You cheating bastard. Hit him harder than any slap. Right there in front of the ghosts of our senior prom. And just when I thought the show was mine, my son Alex stepped from the shadows, his voice slicing through the murmurs like a switchblade. Dad, there's something you need to know about Mom. And why she's not the woman you think she is anymore. That night in the overpriced hotel ballroom off Lakeshore Drive, with the scent of cheap cologne and overcooked prime rib hanging heavy, was the culmination of 8 years in hell. But to understand why Charlotte Hayes, the woman who'd once baked apple pies for PTA meetings and volunteered at the local animal shelter, ended up wearing someone else's skin to gut my husband's empire. You have to go back to the rainy Tuesday in 2017 when everything shattered. I'd been a mid-level accountant at Sterling Dynamics, a powerhouse logistics firm in downtown Chicago, crunching numbers for execs who flew private to Vegas while I commuted on the L train. Mark and I met in college at Northwestern, him the charming finance major with a trust fund smile, me the bookish psych major who thought love could fix anything. We married young, bought a Craftsman in Oak Park, and had Alex right out of the gate. Life was that glossy Instagram filter, barbecues in the backyard, weekend hikes in the Indiana dunes, me pretending the late nights at the office didn't smell like perfume that wasn't mine. The betrayal hit like a freight train on that Tuesday. I came home early from a client lunch, my heels clicking on the hardwood of our foyer, and there they were, Mark, shirt half unbuttoned, tangled in the sheets of our king bed with Lisa Grant, his 28-year-old executive assistant. She was all legs and ambition, with that razor-sharp bob and the kind of laugh that turned heads in boardrooms. I'd met her once at the company holiday party, polite small talk over eggnog, her hand lingering a beat too long on Mark's arm. Charlotte, Mark bolted up, his face paling like curdled milk. Lisa just arched an eyebrow, pulling the sheet around her like a toga, unashamed. This isn't what it looks. Save it, I spat, my voice steady even as my chest caved in. Alex was at soccer practice. Thank God for small mercies. I grabbed my keys, stormed out, and drove aimlessly through the loop until the wipers couldn't keep up with the downpour. By midnight, I'd confronted Mark at his office, where he swore it was a one-time lapse, begged for counseling, promised the moon. I believed him because I always did, because love in America is supposed to be the great redeemer, right? Work through it, pray on it, post about it on Facebook with a blessed hashtag. But Lisa? She didn't slink away. 2 weeks later, the IRS raided Sterling's offices. Embezzlement. They said, millions siphoned through shell accounts. Fake invoices. The works. And the paper trail? It led straight to me. My logins. My signatures. My goddamn social security number stamped on every forged wire transfer. The feds dragged me out in cuffs during the morning meeting. My colleagues whispering, how could she? As if I hadn't shared potlucks with them for years. Mark stood there in the conference room, his jaw set, eyes avoiding mine. I had no idea. Char, he murmured later, in the sterile glow of the detention center visiting room. But I saw the flicker, the relief in his posture, like a man who'd just offloaded a bad investment. Lisa, of course, was promoted to my old desk the next day, her LinkedIn updated with a smug photo in front of the Chicago skyline. The trial was a circus. Our lawyer, some slick Lake Shore guy Mark hired, barely fought, letting the prosecution paint me as the desperate housewife turned gold-digging thief. Evidence mounted. Timestamps on my work computer. Emails from my account to offshore banks. I screamed innocence from the stand, but the jury, good Midwestern folks who hated anything that smelled like white-collar sin, didn't buy it. 10 years. They handed down, with a chance for parole in 8 if I kept my nose clean. Prison in Illinois is no cakewalk. Dwight Correctional Center was a concrete purgatory of fluorescent buzz and the constant stink of bleach and regret. They stripped me of everything: my wedding ring, my dignity, my son. Alex visited the first month, his 9-year-old face pressed to the plexiglass, asking why Mommy couldn't come home. Mark brought him, always in a hurry, always with that lawyer chaperone. "Your mom's sick, buddy," he'd say, as if I had the flu instead of a felony. By year 2, the visit stopped. Mark filed for divorce from the outside, citing abandonment, and custody went to him without a fight. I got quarterly postcards from Alex, stick figure drawings of a family that no longer included me. That's when the rage took root. Dark and thorny, twisting through my veins like kudzu. I started digging in the prison library, poring over legal briefs and true crime paperbacks, piecing together the how. It took 3 years. But I found it, a glitch in one of the forged emails. A metadata timestamp that didn't match my VPN logs. Someone had cloned my access, sophisticated, insider stuff. Lisa. It had to be her, with her tech-savvy side hustle in coding boot camps. And Mark, he signed off on the audits, he had to know. But knowledge isn't freedom. Parole hearings came and went, boards citing my lack of remorse. I rotted, plotting in whispers with my cell block therapist, a burnout named Rita who smuggled in contraband novels. Then, in year 6, Rita slipped me a name, Dr. Elias Voss, a disgraced neuroscientist doing time for unethical experiments upstate. He'd been caught peddling mind enhancement drugs to Wall Street brokers, hallucinogens laced with nootropics, basically designer LSD for day traders. But his real work, neural mapping, the bleeding edge of brain-computer interfaces. Rumors said he'd cracked something bigger, temporary consciousness transfer, like uploading your soul to a thumb drive. I met Voss in the rec yard, under the chain-link shadow of guard towers. He was a wiry skeleton of a man, 60s, with wire-rimmed glasses and a tattoo of Schrodinger's cat on his forearm. Revenge isn't about fists. Charlotte, he rasped, chain-smoking hand-rolls we'd bartered for. It's about becoming the monster they fear. Give me your hate, and I'll give you their skin. It sounded like madness. But in Dwight, madness is currency. Voss had a prototype, a clunky rig of electrodes and quantum processors, smuggled in parts via corrupt guards. The science was fringe, stimulating the pineal gland to induce out-of-body states, then syncing neural patterns via encrypted Bluetooth to a remote receiver. Not a full-body swap, but a mind overlay, your thoughts puppeteering their motor functions, their memories fuzzy in the background like radio static. Reversible, Voss claimed, with a kill switch. Think of it as borrowing a car, he said. You drive. They ride shotgun paralyzed. The target? Lisa. I'd hacked her schedule through Rita's outside contacts, a yoga class in Wicker Park every Thursday, where she zoned out under guided meditation. Voss's rig could piggyback on her smartwatch's biofeedback, syncing during peak alpha waves. The cost? My life savings from prison commissary hustles. funneled to his release fund. And the risk? If it glitched, I'd be trapped in limbo, a ghost in the machine. We pulled the trigger on a humid August night in 2023. I was in the chapel, electrodes taped under my jumpsuit, Voss monitoring from his cell block with a jury-rigged tablet. Breathe deep, he coached over smuggled earpiece. Visualize her face. Want it? The world dissolved into white noise, heartbeats sinking. Then a rip, like Velcro tearing from flesh. I blacked out. When I woke, it wasn't a bars and bunks. It was silk sheets and the hum of a central air unit, sunlight slanting through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Gold Coast. Lisa's condo, perks of her promotion. I sat up, staring at hands that weren't mine, manicured nails, a Cartier bracelet I'd bought Mark for our 10th anniversary now dangling loose. In the mirror, her face stared back, high cheekbones, full lips, eyes like polished jade. But the thoughts? Mine. Sharp, vengeful, American as apple pie a la mode with arsenic. A quick Google confirmed. The swap held. Lisa's memories flickered at the edges, flashes of boardroom conquests. Stolen kisses in the company elevator, but I shoved them down. Her phone buzzed, a text from Mark. Miss you already. Dinner tonight? I typed back in her voice. Can't wait. Babe. Wear that tie I like. Phase 1. Infiltrate. I played the part flawlessly, striding into sterling dynamics in Lisa's Louboutins, flashing her keycard like it was Excalibur. Colleagues nodded. Oblivious, Mark pulled me into his office for a quickie on the desk, his hands greedy on her body. I endured it, while rising, cataloging every password, every dirty secret. Turns out, the embezzlement was just the tip. Mark had been cooking books for years, dodging SEC audits with Lisa's hacks. They weren't lovers, they were co-conspirators, building an offshore nest egg to bail when the heat came. But the real knife? Alex. I found him on her Instagram, tagged in posts from summer camp. Braces gleaming, Mark's arms slung proud around his shoulders. No mention of me, the disgraced ex. I'd written him letters from prison, hundreds, pouring out my love, my innocence. Most came back unopened. The ones that didn't? Curt replies in Mark's handwriting, Mom's busy getting better. Rage boiled anew. I'd lost my boy to their lies. I reached out through a burner account, posing as a concerned teacher. Alex, it's important. Meet at the old park? The one by the swings. He showed, wary in his Letterman jacket, all gangly limbs and that same dimple I'd kissed 1,000 times. Who are you? He demanded. Backpack slung low. I took a breath, the words sticking like gravel. It's me, kiddo. Mom. His laugh was bitter, teenage armor cracking. Turns out, Mark had spun the narrative hard. I was the villain, the addict who'd stolen to feed a habit. But Alex? Smart kid. Northwestern bound like his folks. He'd hacked the family router last year. Found deleted emails, Mark and Lisa plotting the frame. Down to the clone logins. I thought it was a joke at first, he whispered, eyes wet. But Dad. He looked right at the camera, like he was confessing to himself. We cried then, under the rusting slide. My borrowed hands, Lisa's hands, wiping his tears. He didn't flinch at the face. Blood don't lie. From there, alliance forged. Alex fed me intel, Mark's paranoia spiking. Lisa pushing for a quickie Vegas wedding to lock in prenup loopholes. And the reunion. Our high school class of '98 bash at the Hyatt Regency. Mark and Lisa's shared alma mater. Perfect stage. Public. Packed with witnesses. The kind of Midwestern spectacle where scandals bloom like dandelions. Planning was surgical. I coached Alex on the reveal, a thumb drive of forensic audio. Voss's rig capturing Mark's late-night mutterings to Lisa. She'll take the fall, we walk clean. Controversial call. I didn't tell Alex about the swap's origins. Let him think I was out on good behavior. A phoenix risen. The ethics? Gray as Chicago fog. Was puppeteering Lisa's life theft or reclamation? Her memories whispered guilt. Affairs before Mark. A string of married Marks, but I silenced them. She deserved the back seat. The night arrived like a storm front. The ballroom thrummed with '90s nostalgia, Spice Girls remixes, name tags pinned to ill-fitting blazers. I entered as Lisa. Emerald sheath-hugging curves I'd never earned, air-kissing old flames while Mark preened at the bar, scotch in hand. Across the room, in a rented pantsuit, sat the shell of me, my old body. Comatose in a psych ward, I'd checked her into post-swap. No, wait. That was the lie I told myself. Truth? After the transfer. Lisa's mind snapped back briefly, disoriented in my frame. I dosed her coffee with Voss's sedative, non-lethal, just enough to fuzz the edges, then drove her to a no-questions motel, leaving a trail of suicide notes confessing the frame. Controversial? Hell yes. Abandoning your own flesh to rot while you hijack paradise? That's the American dream inverted. Baby, pull yourself up by stepping on necks. But she wasn't there that night. The Charlotte at the reunion was a ghost story. Fodder for whispers. Mark spotted me, Lisa, and pulled me into a slow dance, his breath hot on my neck. You look killer tonight. I smiled her smile, leading him to our table. Prime real estate by the dance floor. The papers burned in my clutch, drafted by a shady loop attorney who'd owed Voss a favor. As the DJ spun wannabe, I pulled them out, sliding the envelope under his napkin. Sign it, Mark. We're done. His fork clattered. What the Lisa? What is this? Faces turned. Our old chem lab partner. The quarterback who'd peaked at homecoming. The room hushed. That delicious Midwestern rubbernecking. You built this on my back, I said. Voice steady. Lisa's alto laced with my steel. The money. The lies. The life you stole from Charlotte Hayes. But I'm not her anymore. I'm you. Confusion rippled to fury. You're crazy. Security. But I held on my phone Alex's feed, live streaming the audio confession. Mark's voice echoed from tinny speakers. Charlotte takes the heat. We fly to Cayman. Start fresh. Gasps. Phones whipped out, recording the implosion. Mark lunged, but Alex was there, 19 now, towering in his thrift store blazer. Thumb drive plugged into the AV system. That's not all, Dad. His eyes met mine, grief and fire. Mom's been waiting to tell you the truth. But first, mine. The banquet hall felt like it shrank, the air thickening with the weight of 2 decades worth of small-town secrets spilling out like cheap Merlot on a white carpet. Mark's face went the color of the overstarched napkins, his knuckles white around the envelope as if it might vanish if he gripped hard enough. Alex, what the hell are you talking about? This is some prank, right? Tell me this is. But my son, our son, didn't flinch. He stood there, all 6'2" of quiet fury. The boy I'd raised on bedtime stories of Atticus Finch, now channeling his inner Perry Mason. The projector screen behind the dessert table flickered to life, courtesy of his laptop hack into the venue system. Not just the audio, visuals too, grainy security cam footage from Sterling's server room, time-stamped to those fateful weeks pre-raid. Lisa's silhouette, my access fob in hand, punching in overrides, while Mark stood lookout, sipping coffee from my world's best mom mug like it was the punchline to their private joke. "This isn't a prank, Dad," Alex said, his voice carrying clear over the stunned silence. The kind that descends when a bomb drops at a family reunion. "It's payback. For Mom. For us." He clicked. And up popped the metadata I'd obsessed over in prison, IP traces bouncing from Lisa's home router to my cloned profile. Then, the kicker, bank records. Anonymized but damning. Showing transfers from Sterling's slush fund to a joint account in Mark and Lisa's names. 10 million. Siphoned clean. Enough for a yacht in Miami.
À pied-à-terre in Paris.
Enough to erase a wife. A mother. A life. The crowd erupted, murmurs swelling to a roar. Old classmates I'd carpooled with to pep rallies now filming on their iPhones. Live tweeting the takedown. Reunion revenge trended before the tiramisu hit the tables. Mark staggered back, chair toppling, his eyes darting like a cornered rat. "You don't understand. It was to protect the company, jobs. Pensions." Charlotte was sloppy, leaving trails. "We had to. Protect." I laughed then, a sound that was half Lisa's husky chuckle, half my own bitter bark. It echoed off the vaulted ceilings, drawing more stares. "You protected your ass, Mark. Framed your wife so you could play house with the help. And Alex, you turned him against me, fed him your fairy tale. But blood talks, doesn't it?" He whirled on me, face twisting in that way it did during arguments, charming mask slipping to reveal the bully beneath. "You shut your mouth, Lisa. This is between me and my son. Whatever hold you've got on him." The room froze again. "Lisa." He still didn't see. That was the beauty of Voss's hack. The neural overlay muffled her impulses. But her vocal tics, her scent, her everything screamed authenticity. I'd spent weeks practicing in her mirror, the tilt of her head when she lied, the way she crossed her ankles under conference tables. Mark bought it hook, line, and adulterer's sinker. But Alex knew. And now, so would everyone. Before I could drop the veil, chaos bloomed. Security, rent-a-cops in ill-fitting polos, pushed through the throng, badges glinting under the disco ball. "Sir, we need you to come with us." Mark bolted, scattering chairs. But the exit was clogged with gawkers. Someone, our old English teacher, Mrs. Hargrove, bless her sentimental heart, blocked his path with a cane and a glare. "Not so fast, Marky. You owe us an explanation." I slipped Alex a nod. "Our signal." He pocketed the drive, melting into the crowd as I played distraught mistress, dabbing phantom tears with a cocktail napkin. "He promised me forever," I wailed to a cluster of sorority sisters, their faces a mix of schadenfreude and sympathy. But it was all for her, the wife he buried alive. Lies within lies, the onion of deceit peeling back to expose the rot. By dawn, the fallout was biblical. CPD hauled Mark in for questioning. The audio clip going viral on local news, WGN calling it the Windy City Watergate of weddings. Sterling stock tanked 15% pre-market. Board members scrambling for damage control. Lisa's real shell? Still sedated in that Evanston clinic I'd booked under a fake name. Her mind a jumbled mess of my memories bleeding into hers. I'd visited once.
Post-swap.
Staring down at my old face. Crow's feet from prison stress. Hair I'd buzzed in despair, now grown out gray. You feel that? I'd whispered, squeezing her hand till bruises bloomed. That's what you gave me. Welcome home. Controversial? Understatement. Leaving her there, abandoned, identity frayed, was vigilante justice at its ugliest. American as a lynch mob with lab coats. Voss had warned of blowback, neural echoes, where fragments of the host lingered, haunting like PTSD flashbacks. Lisa's ambitions gnawed at me in quiet moments, whispers of corner offices. Power lunches, but I crushed them with mantras from my cell block days. This is mine now. Earned in blood and bars. Alex and I holed up in a safe house Airbnb in Logan Square. Takeout Thai and burner phones our companions. He grilled me on the swap, piecing it together from Voss's leaked patents he'd torrented.
Mom.
This is insane. Like, Black Mirror insane. What if it sticks? What if you're her forever? I ruffled his hair. That stubborn cowlick unchanged. Then I make it count.
Kid.
We take them down, then reverse it. Voss said the kill switch is in his effects. Parole next month. Lies. Again. The doc had OD'd in his cell the night after. Accidental, per the coroner. But I'd seen the empty pill vial in our last session. No switch. The swap was one way. A suicide pill for the soul. But Alex didn't need that weight. Not yet. We plotted the endgame. Leak the full dossier to the feds. Anonymous drop via Alex's dark web contacts. Mark's empire crumbled. Resignations by noon. SEC probe announced at 3 p.m. Lisa, waking groggy in my body, would surface as the fall guy. Her confession video I'd doctored with deepfake tech Alex sourced from a Berkeley dropout. She'd babble about the frame. Take the plea. Rot in the cell I'd vacated. Poetic. Dark symmetry. But revenge is a serpent, devouring its tail. As weeks blurred, the thrill faded. Living as Lisa meant boardrooms where men leered. Catty texts from friends who smelled blood. And Alex? He pulled away, eyes shadowed. You're different.
Mom.
Colder.
He was right.
The overlay leached empathy. Voss's side effect, neural pruning for efficiency. I snapped at him over curfews. Forgot his birthday cake order. The woman who'd once cried at ET. Reruns now calculated exits like a sociopath. The twist brewed in those cracks. One night, scrolling Lisa's emails for loose ends, I found it, a folder buried in her cloud drive. Labeled contingency. Not just the frame, insurance. Screenshots of my browser history from years back. Searches for discreet abortion Chicago, dated to Alex's conception month. Mark and I had fought then. Ugly, me accusing him of flirting with in turn. Him throwing my frigid phase in my face. I'd panicked. Booked the clinic. Then chickened out. A ghost choice. Buried deep. But Lisa? She'd hacked my laptop during a girls' night wine session, stashing it for leverage. And deeper, a paternity test. Ordered post-frame. Results, 99.7% match to Mark. But the margins? A 0.3% whisper of doubt. Attached. A chat log, Lisa to a PI buddy. Run it again. He's got her eyes. But that jawline? Not haze. My stomach dropped. Alex. My anchor. The light in the abyss. Tainted?
No. But the seed of reversal planted.
Was the revenge built on sand? Had I gunned for Mark over a betrayal that paled next to my own buried shame? We pushed on. The feds bit. Indictments raining like confetti at a funeral. Mark lawyered up. Out on bail. Ranting to reporters about extortion by a scorned assistant.
Lisa.
In my skin. Surfaced raving in a precinct holding cell. I'm not Charlotte. She's in me. Branded delusional. Medicated into silence. The press ate it up. Ex-wife's breakdown and embezzlement saga. Then, the call came. Alex. Voice cracking. Mom. We need to talk. About the reunion. About everything. We met at our old diner in Oak Park. Formica booths scarred from decades of hash browns and heartbreak. He slid a manila envelope across, thicker than the divorce papers. Stamped with a lab logo. I ran it, he said, not meeting my eyes.
The test.
For real this time. The diner's fluorescent hum felt like a lie detector. Buzzing judgment as Alex's words hung between us. Greasy spoon coffee cooling untouched. The envelope sat there. Innocuous as a tax form, but it pulsed with the kind of truth that unravels bloodlines and empires alike. I'd come as Lisa, designer jeans, oversized shades to hide the neural headache spiking behind my eyes, but under the table, my foot, her foot, tapped a Morse code of dread.
Not now.
Not this. Alex. Honey, I started, reaching for his hand, but he pulled back. That teenage recoil sharper than any shank in Dwight. Whatever it says, it doesn't change, doesn't it? He ripped it open, papers whispering like conspirators. The top sheet, bar graphs, percentages, a helix uncoiling in black ink. 98.2% match to Dad. But that's not the revelation.
Mom.
That's the cover. He flipped to the narrative report. A geneticist's dry prose detailing anomalies, mitochondrial markers, Y chromosome quirks. Then the attached affidavit. Sworn by the PI Lisa had hired. Interviews with a nurse from my OB/GYN practice. Whispers of a one-night lapse during that frigid phase. The intern wasn't Mark's. It was a rebound with my college ex. Jake Riley. The bartender from our post-grad bar crawls. Boozy regret. A cab ride home. Me swearing it meant nothing. But biology? It sticks. Alex was a Mark's. He was Jake's, a secret I'd buried under layers of denial, ultrasounds, and that panicked clinic search I'd never followed through on. Lisa had known, hoarded it like a loaded gun. Why spill? Leverage? Sure, but the chat logs showed more. If Charlotte cracks, use it. Kid's the weak spot. They'd framed me not just for the money, but to sever the tie, to cleanse the family legacy Mark obsessed over. His WASP pedigree untainted. The reversal hit like whiplash. All those years of rage. The swap. The puppeteering. I'd been avenging a villainy built on my own half-truth. Mark hadn't known. The frame was Lisa's solo play. Mark complicit but blind. He'd taken the fall for her ambition, just as I'd taken it for his. And Alex, caught in the crossfire, resenting a father who wasn't, a mother who'd lied by omission. I pieced it from her files, Alex said, voice raw. After the reunion, I couldn't stop. Hacked the PI server.
Mom.
Why didn't you tell me? Guilt. That old prison mate. Clawed up my throat. I was scared. You were ours, mine and Mark's, in every way that mattered. Jake? He was a ghost. Gone to Seattle with a bar tab and bad tattoos. I chose love over labs. He nodded.
Slow.
Tears carving tracks down his cheeks. But it crushes them both. Doesn't it? Lisa used it to manipulate Dad into the frame. Protect your real son, she said. And him? He doubled down, thinking he was saving us.
The whole thing.
It's a house of cards. The diner blurred. Voss's echoes amplifying the vertigo, Lisa's memories surging. Her own abortions, her daddy issues from that Bible Belt trailer park she'd fled for Chicago's glass towers. Was I her now? Or still Charlotte? The flawed mom who'd baked redemption pies? We drove to the clinic that night. Rain slicking the Kennedy Expressway like tears on chrome. Lisa, in my body, my Charlotte shell, lay strapped to a gurney. Monitors beeping a lullaby of sedation. Her eyes fluttered open as we entered. Green like mine used to be, but wild with fracture. You, she croaked, spotting the face she wore. Thief. I leaned in, close enough for breath to mingle. We're even now. You took my life, I borrowed yours. But this? I tapped the test results on her forestand. You're ace. Useless. Confusion warped her features, my features. What? Alex stepped forward, gentle as I'd taught him. Aunt Lisa, or whatever you are. It's over. The feds have the logs. The affair. The hack. The lies. And this? Proof you blackmailed with my DNA. Dad's going down for complicity. But you? You're the architect. She thrashed. Weak. Tubes tingling. He loved me, not her, the liar. The cheater. The twist inverted everything. Mark, cuffed in a federal holding cell by morning, would learn the parentage via subpoenaed records, crushed not by infidelity, but by the realization his son was a construct, a love he'd fought for on false premises. Lisa, facing 22 life, once lucid, would unravel in Gen Pop, her power plays exposed as desperate grabs from a girl who'd never belonged. And me, the body swapper, the vengeful phantom, I'd won the war, but lost the map home. No kill switch. No reversal. I'd live out Lisa's days. Her assets. Her aliases. Raising Alex in a shadow life of NDAs and therapy bills. We triggered the emergency code as we left, overdose simulation. Clean enough for suicide by proxy. Controversial to the core, mercy killing a rival's mind, or euthanizing my past. The nurses wouldn't question. Voss's network ran deep. Lisa flatlined quiet, my old heart giving out with a sigh. Mark's trial was a media feast 6 months later. Cable news panels debating the swap scandal, though the neural tech stayed buried. Chalked up to psychological manipulation. He took a plea. 12 years white-collar in a low SEC camp, emerging gray and broken. Alex visited him weekly, forging a fragile peace, not father-son, but survivor's pact. He gets it now, Alex told me over FaceTime from his dorm. The lies we all told. As for me, I sold Lisa's condo. Liquidated the offshore slush, enough for Alex's trust. My reinvention. New name, Claire Grant. Consultant in ethical AI. Lecturing on the perils of unchecked ambition at TEDx knockoffs. The neural haze lifted gradually, her echoes fading to echoes. But the mirror still startles, those jade eyes staring back. Judging. Happy ending? Depends on your metric. I got revenge. Reclaimed my son. Toppled a tyrant. But at what cost? The shell of a woman I despised. A legacy of ethical rot? Readers argue in comment sections. Vigilante justice or Frankenstein folly? Hero or horror? In America, where bootstraps snag on bodies, it's both. And as I watch Alex graduate, cap tassels swinging like a noose untied, I wonder, would I swap again? For him, hell yes. For me, that's the debatable dawn. The end credits roll in quiet moments. Rain on the window like applause. Fade to black.